for these units, so they'll have to run around. Or number two, if your opponent misclicks and starts firing on the pylon, easy damage taken by the pylon, and your units actually get to do some more damage to the opponent. So we'll see how this plays out. Just quickly before we go to it, do note that there is a Banshee here for Deebs, and there's nothing else producing just at the moment. I'm assuming he's focusing his micro time on the battle up at the front. Now I do also notice he's got a bit of energy here, so hopefully he'll pick that up and use that as soon as he can. And we do have some extra units coming out from July, so we'll see how this progresses. I'll put it back on normal speed. As you can see, the Zealot's just tearing through all of these Marines and these Marauders as well, doing a nice job just cutting through them, taking the damage from pretty much that whole group of Terran units there, while the Stalkers just sit back and absolutely clean up everything. So nice little push there, but it was well defended by July with some nice use of his units. So in the end there, as I know I said before that the Zealots aren't always that useful at the start of the game, but in that particular position where the Terran's going to push out early, they actually did a nice job of soaking up a lot of the damage. Warpgate tech is done, as we can see here on the Cybernetics core, so hopefully he'll get that going soon and turn all these gateways. Yes, there we go. Yeah, I am slowing it down, sorry guys, but I'm just trying to keep up with everything, because I am trying to, you know, keep on top of every little thing that we can hopefully talk about to cover both of these guys here. The energy, there we go. He picked it up just in time. He still does actually have a little bit of extra energy here on the orbital command. It's got enough for one more scan or a mule or supply drop if he wants to. But as we can see, this particular build he's doing, he's controlling his minerals quite nicely for a sort of bronze silver player, and he's doing well with the gas as well, because mainly in this build, the only gas unit is really going to come from the Banshees, because you only really need a tank, maybe two, to make the pushes effective. So we'll have to see how that goes there. Getting some more probes out here. July's getting some more probes. Scan goes down, nicely done by Deebs to see what is happening here in the Protoss base. And what he'll see is some, he should have been able to see both of these gateways going up. We can also see some lights flashing on the Twilight Council, and we have Zealot legs, which is going up, which in my eyes is a really good counter for this particular build that Deebs is doing, because if you have some Zealots up, you've got legs, the Zealots will be able to run across quickly to the Marine Marauder ball and actually just start hacking through them, while your Stalkers can try and take out the Banshees. So we'll see if that actually works in this particular circumstance. As I said, I haven't actually seen how this particular game progresses because I dropped out. Bit of continuing problem here from July. This not keeping on top of his energy in the Nexus. You really want to see like Chrono on this to get the charge out faster. Perhaps on I'm just going to pause it again just because I got a couple things to talk about. Or perhaps even on either of the Nexuses to keep the probes pumping. The other thing I just noticed was, if you have a look at the hotkeys here, people often do their hotkeys quite differently. Some people will actually have their Nexus, Command Center, Hatcheries, whatever, on number 5, and then all of their units spread across 1, 2, 3, 4. I myself actually use 1 for both of my, the Command Centers or Nexus or whatever. But personally, I think a key is to have both of them on the same number, because then what you can actually do, instead of having, as you can see here, we've got one Nexus selected. If you have both of them selected, what you can do is actually build your probes or your workers from both of the actual Command Center buildings. So it's generally a better way to do that. Not to mention the added benefit of that as well is that you can actually use your Chrono Boost, Mule, whatever, scan from both of them. So you can actually see we've got both of these Nexi selected. He's got just the 14 energy on the one that's down at the natural and the 81 here at this main. But what you can do when you have both of them on the same hotkey, hit your button for both of the nexus and then actually just spam out some chrono just to make sure that you're using it up properly. So that's one key part which I think was occurring in game 1 as well, which was just a bit of a problem. As we can see, minerals and gas are both really high. I think because he's been supply blocked here because he's only got he's putting down these 2 extra pylons, but he's got almost 800 minerals and over 1,000 gas, which is just huge considering what he could have pumped out by now. So just again a little bit of a macro slowdown, I suppose you would call it, from July, just because of getting this this supply block. So we'll have to see how that pans out. And one other quick thing for July here is none of these units in game 1, I saw it as well, but I totally forgot to mention it. These units have no they have no hotkey as well. The whole point to having the hotkeys there is so that you can actually just select your units and get to them really quickly. So instead of being over here like looking at your nexus, looking at your mineral line, and then suddenly you know, your front is being attacked, instead of having to slide all the way back over here, you double click your hotkey for it, bam, you're over here. You can actually use your units properly. Not to mention the simple fact that instead of sliding over here, firstly grabbing all your units with your selection box and then moving your units, attacking with your units, whatever, you can actually just click your button straight away and then be ready to, you know, right click around. So it's just another bit of a small issue that I think really should be dealt with by July here, if he wants to improve. On Deebs' side, he's doing well. Once again, he's doing really well with his saturation of the SCVs. Getting a little bit overboard here, especially considering he has no expansion and doesn't look like he's going for an expansion. Looks like he's sort of sticking with this sort of one base push play, which is obviously a bit of a Terran powerhouse. But he is also letting the minerals and gas is starting to creep up a little bit. I assume that's because he's trying to actually move these units around. So hopefully these various things can be picked up a little bit in the coming moments, and we'll obviously see a battle here as well. So just putting this all back together. Robotics coming in from July as well. He's putting a pylon across here, which is nice positioning. Perhaps in future you'd want to actually put it behind these trees here so you can see if there is anything behind. The Terran force is now moving across. He's obviously got these powerful Banshees here, siege tanks sieging up, and they're going to try and lure in some of the Protoss units into the siege tank range. Nice little maneuver there by Deebs, putting these tanks down and then luring the rest of these forces in. I would think that given that all of these zealots have charge, they should be able to take care of these forces, which is a nice little tech move by July. So we'll have to see how this progresses. Obviously the one thing to watch here is the Banshees, because the Banshees will just start ripping through everything if they're not taken care of pretty quickly. As we can see, the Banshees do take care of all of those Stalkers. The Zealots, however, have done a great job against the Bio Forces, so we'll have to see how that progresses there. We've got some Stalkers that are warped in. Stalkers are going to clean up the rest of these Banshees nicely, and that once again alludes back to the point here of July having a lot of minerals and a lot of gas. Obviously this is mainly coming from the fact that he got this early expansion, and he's still just got to ramp up the production facilities a bit, because he's on five gates. If you're going to get the Zealot speed, you probably want to grab a couple more gates so you can continually pump out the Zealots. And so that's one small issue that's still a bit of a problem here at the moment. He's getting an observer out to keep up the scouting, which I really like. He's in both games he's actually done really good scouting with his observers, so hopefully he can actually see what's coming and be able to defend it properly, as these Terran forces continue to rally up to this point here with some really good rally point usage here by Deebs. So he's putting another factory down as well, sticking with this one base play. So he's obviously relying on this one particular build, so hopefully it can work nicely, because obviously sitting on this one base without any, without the possibility of an expansion at the moment, even though he does actually have the money. If these pushes fail, he's going to be in a really tough spot. What we want to see here as well from July, he's still got these warp gates. Come on, yeah, there you go. He's warping out some more units. Got a couple more gateways going down. Nice little follow up there. Still got all this energy on the Nexus. If you're not going to use it for getting some tech, or if you're not going to use it on getting some more probes, put it on the warp gates. Get the timer down on the warp gates. I'm just going to pause it so that you can actually get even more units out faster, given that he's sitting on almost over 1,500 in both resources. So it's still a bit of a problem at the moment. He really needs to start smashing out some units to take advantage of the fact that he did take this early base, because this particular style of build with this early expand is that you really do need to take advantage of the fact that at this sort of point here we're at, which is we're currently at 14 minutes. The actual windows is a lot earlier, but you really need to take advantage of the fact that you are sitting on 2 bases, your opponent's still sitting on 1. He does obviously have some really powerful forces here with a lot of Banshees sitting there, but you have the ability to just absolutely essentially zerg out a lot of units because of the high resource count. So I really want to see July getting some more gateways here, or getting some higher tech, because if he's not gonna get some more gateway units, he really needs to switch to higher tech and take advantage of the fact that he's got a lot of minerals and a lot of gas. So we have Deebs still doing a nice job here. He's getting out a lot of Marines. We still don't actually have any of the tech upgrades for the Marines. You really want to see some in this particular build. I would say that Stim is definitely a big one.